Hello and welcome to the Unique CPA with your host, Randy Crabtree. We're committed to creating a thriving community of accounting professionals who are physically and mentally healthy, fulfilled, and energized by their work. Our ultimate goal is to elevate the reputation of the accounting profession and vastly improve the lives of those in it. The Unique CPA is brought to you by Trimerit, the specialty tax professionals.
Today, our guest is Rafael Casas. Rafael is the Director of Strategic Alliances and Partnerships at QuickFee. Rafael and I have run into each other a couple times recently at conferences. Always a good time. Rafael, welcome to the Unique CPA.
Thank you so much for having me, Randy. It's definitely an honor. And yeah, I think the last time at Scaling New Heights when the wildlife ran free in front of us was pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, we had, I think it was a buffalo, and you had taken a video. It got loose from its pen and was running around the convention center, the exhibitor hall, and I think you got a lot of responses and comments on your video you posted out there.
Yeah, that was a funny one. I didn't catch the lassoing of that, but that was crazy.
Yeah, that was, who was with us? Was it Niall Carter-Gray that was with us too? And yeah, she was.
And Gaynor was there as well, yeah.
Oh, Gaynor was there too. And they were, I think I was hiding behind them as they were getting the buffalo back into position. So yeah, that was an interesting event at a conference. Not your normal, but that was fun. Hopefully it was fun for the buffalo too. Baby, it wasn't a large one. I don't think we were in too much danger. All right, so let's talk a little bit. I mentioned QuickFee and I mentioned your role. Why don't you give us a little background on, let's start with QuickFee. What is QuickFee and what is it? How does it help our profession?
Yeah, well, a QuickFee really helps the profession in several different areas, but kind of in a nutshell, it's assisting with accelerating your AR with firms, accounting firms and legal firms. But we have a couple areas where we help support the receivable side of aged invoicing, from white labeling for credit cards and ACH, but kind of our crown jewel is the QuickFee Finance, which essentially we underwrite the firms. You allow your clients to have more options to pay you 3, 6, 9, 12 months. We basically will, again, underwrite your firm, eliminate that. Say you got a $100,000 invoice, that's 60 days. We would actually be able to underwrite you. You can give that money up front to the firm, and then you can get that off your book and start working on larger projects. That client will then work directly with us from a reminder management standpoint in a tactful collections type of a relationship way. So we help mend that relationship that could be possibly strained from them not paying you. It also helps, I think a big value is the mindfulness, the mental wear on AR teams that I've worked with.
Mm-hmm.
It gets really stressful. So, it helps from, we really see our position ourselves to be layered in the CAS framework methodology, the AICPA, under the strategy and governance, specifically the client management, because it's so much more than transactional. That relationship is quite deep and nuanced. And so that's really where we help out. And it's not factoring because we're not taking any money from the firm or leveraging anything there. There's no credit checks as well. So it's just another way that you can help facilitate the relationship, getting aged invoices off and freeing up cash flow to do more projects.
All right. So something you just said was interesting. So how does this work from like a fee standpoint? Because you said there's nothing going to the client, or are you charging a percentage that now you're in charge of? How does that whole process work then?
Yeah, we give the option of 3, 6, 9, 12 months to your client that you would be able to pass on to them. And there will be a small interest they will pay us directly. So there's no cost or no fees to the firm. It's just an additional payment option that you can give to the clients.
Okay.
And they will pay that interest directly to us. And then it's also, most cases tax deductible, that interest.
Right. That makes sense. Okay, I was thinking, you bought the receivable and, on 75 cents on the dollar or something, then you collect it, but it's nothing like that. It's just we're setting up a payment plan that there's interest involved. All right, that's cool.
Exactly. That's the factoring where we don't do that. We're not buying them, 75 cents on the dollar kind of thing.
Okay. All right. Well, that's cool. And then besides that, just in general, it's just a way to get paid quicker. Let's not even assume that the the receivable that's out there for 6 months or 9 months that we haven't got collected on. It's just a payment method you can tie into, I assume, your accounting system or something where your clients can pay you easily, quickly, QuickFee.
Exactly. And we also, have a lot of automation built in, integrated to a lot of the major practice management tools that exist out there, and then also facilitate the reminder management automation. But we also have some larger firms that we work with in the top 500 that will also utilize us to actually make those reminder calls if needed, if they don't have the capacity to it. So we can assist in that way, just be tactful and help keep the relationship strong and then get those receivables off the books.
I think that's awesome, because that's one thing I like talking about a lot, is that people don't realize that they don't have to do everything. There's so many ways that you can, either delegate internally, delegate as an outsource provider, and this is just another thing someone can take off their plate that they don't have to deal with then on the reminder calls and what. Because the thing is, we won't do the reminder calls because we have so many other things that we are more important in our minds. Collecting money is important, but we have so many other things. That little bit of pain of making that call is so significant in our heads that we're not going to do it, and we're just going to keep doing the pumping out the work, which is fine. But if we don't get paid on it, that's a huge deal.
So you don't want to be a collection agency either.
No,
that's not your deal.
Right. All right. Well, that's awesome. So let's go into your role, because it's interesting. Being the strategic alliance and partnership director. What does that mean, and what are you trying to do?
A lot of this, coming into QuickFee, I have a really amazing leadership team that I've worked with at Sage for over a decade. And really, we're really trying to help elevate the profession with a lot of education and thought leadership, and spanning from mental health to automation, AI, and technologies to consulting. From a brand awareness standpoint, I think previously QuickFee was very in a position of boiling the ocean. Really didn't have a strategy, really didn't have a clear focus and intention. And we've really shifted that and are changing the perception of really focusing on the accounting profession, who I've spent all my career working with and I love more than anything. And same with our president, Jennifer Warwa, who a lot of people know as well. And really we're helping in many different facets, not just those different things that I brought up, but working with a lot of major top thought leaders, from client management to CAS to consulting to technologies, and then really just having a lot more brand equity so people know what we're doing and where we're focused and how we're trying to bring value to the profession.
Yeah, I think that's great. That's a huge, I guess, mantra of mine is just, sharing knowledge, get information out there, and you mentioned one of my passions is mental health awareness. I think you and I are going to have to talk about this. Are you doing webinars, or how are you getting this additional information out to the people you're trying to support?
Yeah, we'll be doing webinars. I've got about, I think, 15 or so lined up for the rest of the year. It'll be either through a QuickFee branded, collaboration, or we'll be doing some stuff with AICPA, Business Learning Institute, CPA Academy as well. I've got a couple that I'll be doing. One of them I haven't done in a while. It's How Jiu-Jitsu Made Me a Better Consultant.
Wow.
Which actually goes through a lot of the mental wellness and preparing myself for, in many different ways, make me a better consultant on the business side, but also helping me get through my cancer in 2010. That prepared me in many ways for that. So I'll go through, I'll do that. I did that once for digital CPA in 2019, but I'll do a longer, more drawn out one. And then I also have one that I just finished building that I've done in the past, because I've done a lot of RPA, in the past with Maryland and AICPA and a lot of other areas. But I'm doing one that's going to be, it's called Shiny Objects, which really goes over the shiny object syndrome and then really discusses methodologies and frameworks to implementing these technologies, because there's always going to be these shiny objects and everyone's like, I want to do that, I want to pull this. But the real value comes from, for me, it's always come from the business side, the business value of business process improvement, ripping apart what you're doing now, what's grandfathered in, questioning everything. And then it also, at the end of the day, helps you build out a better, innovative culture. and where you have people that can bring up new ideas and don't feel that they're just kind of bottom of the barrel in a company. And that's really important because they have different perspectives than the executive team that's really not down in the weeds every day.
Right.
And so I kind of go through a lot of that, as well as my background implementing these technologies for billion-dollar companies around the world, and kind of what I've learned as an architect and implementing that. And I just give a real deep framework of pre-implementation, entrepreneurship, post-implementation, in a sandbox environment, in a production environment, and then maintenance and building out center of excellence teams. So, I go through a lot of that.
Wow. I'm impressed. I'm excited to see what you're doing here. So is there webinars out there already, or is this just starting with the QuickFee brand?
We don't have any yet. We are actually good. We've got them geared up. We've been doing quite a few with BDO. We'll be doing a lot more with ASCPA, but it's all ramping up throughout the year. And we're really excited. I'll be doing some stuff with Tom Hood, Donnie Shimamoto, Jason Stats. Jason's just great,
Yep.
phenomenal, and we actually worked together on RPA stuff early on when he was building Realize.
Really?
So yeah, so I worked on some. I built a bot, I think initially to clear out the COA by industry in Sage products, and then helping building some bots for $0 tax extensions early on, just to give some use case thoughts. But yeah, no, I'm excited to kind of share that one here soon. Just figuring out what platform we're going to have that on, but that's something that I'm excited to kind of share.
Do you have a date for the first release?
Not yet. We're working on that though. I'm working with Jason and Tom and a few other folks on that one. So hopefully very soon, and I'll let you know when it's ready to go. But to whoever wants me to do it, I'll do it sooner than later if they want. But that's one that I certainly will be. I think there's going to be hopefully a lot of value that comes out of that.
All right. So this is exciting. I'm really going to pay attention to that, and I'll be checking my email to see when I'm going to be scheduled to be on one of the webinars with you.
Yes, you're definitely on the docket.
All right, thank you. Look at me forcing my way in. I guess that's what I do.
It's by default, Randy. You're obviously in there.
All right. I just pulled up here at the webpage, and the first thing that popped up is a video with Chris West, who was actually a friend of mine. He's got a firm out in Colorado. So I was like, oh, man, you just knowing everybody out there. That's pretty cool. All right, so let's talk a little more about your background and where you came from to get to this point, because it really sounds cool, the things you're doing. So why don't you expand on your journey to get to this spot?
Yeah, I actually started at Sage in my early 20s in 2005. So actually kind of the same time Jeannie Whitehouse and then Claes, we all were at Sage around the same time. And I started there in support and then consulting, and then worked my way as a Microsoft consultant and GP, and worked for a Sage VAR for a little while. And then I kind of pivoted into a really more, I guess, tier one technology consulting and development role. So I worked with Hansen Technologies out of Australia, and they actually built out all the billing technologies for media broadcasting companies around the world, billing and automation, which was really, really, I think that was a really pivotal part in my career of expanding and learning. I became an Oracle DBA, SQL DBA developer, and lead architect. And that's actually something that one of the specific clients that I had in South Africa, I actually talked about that in my shiny objects automation and technology session. But that's where I really learned a lot about the nuances of working with really large clients and their personas, and dealing with different stakeholders. It's really nuanced. This is actually something that Donnie Shimamoto and I will probably talk about this year, of the business culture and navigating that. It's really difficult. It can be quite stressful, of dealing with a CFO to a controller to a project manager to business analysts, and they all have different personalities. And that actually really set the stage and tone, not just from the support standpoint, but really working with a lot of individuals. And then I worked in a private cloud company with Casey Johnson for a little while, and then I I went back to Sage, part of their Center of Excellence enterprise team, and also worked in NetSuite as an architect. Dabbled a little bit in the crypto accounting space, and then came over here with Jennifer Warrowa, previous colleague at Sage and QuickFee, and it really is a dream come true being here and being with a group that's really focused on just helping the accounting profession grow and elevate, and in all the ways that we can. Not just from a technology or a product standpoint, which is really, I think, something that just happens naturally, but from thought leadership and knowledge, and just really helping support the group get better. And it's such an amazing community, and it's such a tight knit community, and
Mm-hmm.
how I've seen it grow throughout the last 20 years. It is a beautiful thing to see, if everyone's just really helping to try, really to help be mentors to each other, and trying to have egos be a backseat, but trying to just progress the profession in so many different ways of diversity of thoughts, in leadership, and it really just helping us grow in the long run together.
Yeah, I think that's so important. That's why I spend most of my year, at least after April 15th, at conferences, just because of all the information you learn, just talking to people and the knowledge they share, and the collaborations that occur. I mean, you and I both are on the road a lot, and I'm not home for the next 15 days, I think, because I'll be at 4 different locations, but those are so important. And that's probably the role that you're currently in. That role, I assume, didn't exist before you went to QuickFee, or did it?
I think there was a role quite some time ago, but it wasn't really focused on one thing.
Yep.
It was kind of all over the place, and now we're just being really intentional, and we know where we can help bring value to the community, and so I'm working with different types of partners, embedded technology partners, industry partners, like the alliances of BDO and Lineal and AICPA, and then working with a lot of these other technology partners like Zero, Intuit, and things like that, and Sage. So.
And then the thing you had mentioned, Jason Stats, I always have to expand on that because Jason's a cool guy. I really like Jason. What are you doing with him? Is it a webinar you're putting together, or some program in place?
Yeah, we're working on a few different things together where we'll probably be doing some stuff on ASCPA that's a bit more thought leadership and maybe not as deep in the weeds, but around what we're seeing in the market and what's happening. I think Tom Hood will probably be involved in that, because there's so many different areas of the business where you can take nuggets from what the CFOs and finance are doing, and in larger companies, and make that work as a framework for larger companies, because it just makes sense. And then we'll probably be doing I may have them do this shiny objects one with me together, like the deep dive that I'm doing, because that's really going to be more an object. Then we'll be doing some stuff for Realize's community as well, and kind of demoing what QuickFee brings of value to firms, and so we're excited about all the things we'll be doing there. But Jason's great. We bounce stuff off each other all the time. He's just, it's amazing to see where he's come, and Nayo and Laurel and Wilson, from just starting up. I seeing them coming through the ranks, and the amazing things that they're doing in the community. And it's so cool to see.
Oh yeah, definitely is. And that's the thing that I've got to witness over the last 4 years is the people that you just mentioned. I all met them in the last couple of years, and just see the cool things that they're doing and the technology that they're integrated. Well, Jason now just as his community, but in this firm, the technology that they integrated and the efficiencies that they come up with, and just sharing that knowledge and showing that that's out there, I think is so important. And then seeing those success stories that they've all done. Niall, I'm actually in San Francisco right now, and I just got a text from Niall. She's looking for someone to go to lunch with. So I don't know. I may have to cut this short. I got to go to lunch with Niall.
I know. Niall's way more important. I love Niall. She's amazing.
Yeah. Niall Carter Gray, in case there's anybody listening, was wondering who we're talking about. So I guess, why don't you give us a wrap on the just QuickFee and what you're doing, and then we'll go to a couple final questions.
Yeah, again, ultimately, QuickFee is really helping on several different fronts with the profession, not just payments and financing to help from a client management, client relationship, and accelerating your AR, but also really all of the knowledge that we have and our experience in giving it back to the community and partnering with the community and just being good business partners, from helping, facilitate webinars and education and knowledge on mental wellness, CAS, consulting, payments, future finance, and as well as, mental health. And so really what we're doing is just giving everything that we have, all of the knowledge that we have, and we just want to give that and partner and promote all of these amazing individuals for the greater of the community. And so that's what we're here to do, and we're just excited to do that this year and continue to do that through the next couple of years.
Nice. Well, besides my mental health presentation, I'm working on a carper culture one and on a growth one. And growth, there's many different definitions and ways to look at growth. So putting those three together. So we'll talk a little more there. I'm forcing my way in again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think though is the biggest thing that's the biggest thing that I bring up, and I think that anyone can do in a firm, small, big, or large, or just a student, is intellectual curiosity. That is what helped me get to where I am now. When I first started in this profession, I was looking at the top people and how versatile they were, and they weren't one-trick ponies. And you kind of, the only way to really get to that point is just have intellectual curiosity. You don't feel like that you know everything.
Right. Oh, yeah.
You just want to be a sponge and just continue to see what's out there and experiment and learn.
Yep. And it's what you just said. You don't have to know everything either, but you have to know that someone else knows something that can help you with it. And I think that's important. I think we get bogged down as a profession with, well, how am I going to expand because I can't do that, or I don't know that. I'm like, but there's plenty, just like we talked about, being able to outsource AR collections to you guys. That's something you don't have to be an expert at. That's something you can outsource. And I think that's one thing that people get too bogged down into when they look at building their firm, building their practices. Well, I just don't know enough. How am I going to do that? You know plenty, and you don't have to know everything.
Yeah, I think that's something that I notice in every professional, young or starting out. They want to grind and they want to learn everything and know everything. But I think that the big thing outside of the intellectual curiosity is critical thinking and being resourceful. When I started out in this, like in the accounting technology, a big thing that I leveraged on was just being resourceful,
Yep.
knowing where to find the information and learning where all these things live, as opposed to going to someone and just trying to get a quick answer. And I think that's a really good tool to have in your toolbox to help you succeed.
Yep. All right. Now I just got a text from Michael Lee and Blake Oliver. They want to. They're just walking over here. Sorry, I'm name dropping on the show.
No, I love those guys. Blake's great.
Yeah.
Blake actually, his son, his ear doctor is here where I live in Encinitas, and so when he's in town, we always get our kids together. Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Blake and David and Naya.
Yep. That's cool. Let's, before we close up here, we need to find, because we kind of hinted on it that a little bit just in our discussions, but hey, work's great and doing all these things are fun and our community's great, but what do you do when you're not working? What's your outside of work passions? What do you enjoy doing?
I grew up playing soccer and baseball and bodyboarding and a lot of different areas. I've actually, the last 6 months, have gotten back into playing competitive soccer again.
Oh.
So just trying not to get hurt. I was going to start doing jiu-jitsu. I did that for many years, but I kind of need my limbs and my legs and my arms to do work. So I've taken a back seat. So I've just been playing a lot of soccer and getting fit again and just trying to stay healthy. That's been a lot of what I've been doing. And this last 6 weeks has just been purely traveling to just trying to stay healthy there. And, but that's try eventually to get back in the water here in California. But my body is kind of a wimp now when it comes to cold water.
So. Yeah, I'm with you for sure. So, all right. Well, if anybody wants to know more about you or QuickFee, what's the best place to look or get a hold of you?
You can meet us or see us, learn more about us at quickfee.com. My email is rafael.casas@quickfee.com. I'm also, my Twitter handle is at Rafael Casas QF. Let me just make sure. I don't think there's a J in there. And I'm also very active, on tax Twitter and a bunch of different areas as well. And yeah, it's Rafael Casas QF.
Got it.
But those are how you can reach me, and on LinkedIn as well, Rafael Casas.
All right. Well, Rafael, thank you. I appreciate you coming on. I had a great time and really looking forward to seeing what the programs you're going to be putting out.
Thank you. And we also are really appreciative of Tri-Merit because Tri-Merit also uses QuickFee in-house. And so we're really appreciated to be partners with you all.
Yeah.
So thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you for joining us today on the Unique CPA. You can find the show notes for today's episode and learn more about Tri-Merit at theuniquecpa.com. Remember to subscribe and leave a 5-star rating on your favorite podcasting app. And join us next time for more expertise and insights on the Unique CPA. Professionalproductions.net